The MTG podcast is a virtual space for women and minorities in the tech and creative industries.
Tune in as we explore inspirational,
educational,
and community insights
through different perspectives, expanding the diverse cultures and societies that reflect us.
We're more than a designer.
We're more than our name badge.
We're more than the work we produce. Welcome to the More Than Graphics podcast.
We're that tribe.
Hey, welcome to another episode of the More Than Graphics podcast. I'm Danielle.
And I'm Priscilla.
And the two of us today are making up this Bridgerton Season 3 Part 1 series of More Than Graphics. Hello. I'm super excited for this episode, but really I'm more excited about kind of what's happening in these spaces in and around us. Priscilla, what's been new in your world first before we kind of get started and dig into this theme?
Gosh, I never know what was going on last time. But my daughter tomorrow is having a 5th grade celebration. Tomorrow. Well, she'll be doing a 5th grade celebration. And it's exciting because she's going to be going towards 6th grade.
Right. So they're not calling it a graduation, if you will. They're calling it more.
They ring a bell.
Okay.
Outside of the school, in the schoolyard. And then also I have been, the sewing machine has been.
Yes. Oh, right? Let's go. Tell me more.
Lots of patterns everywhere. It looks like, I don't know what. It looks like a daycare threw up with all the different.
Oh my goodness!
But in a good way.
I love it. And I love it when your stuff throws up because that means I get to see pictures of it behind the scenes. Maybe we'll have to share some of that in socials. For
sure. So what about you?
Oh, I mean, where do I begin? We have birthdays, right? So we've got a lot of kids' birthdays that are moving. We've got also a child, being promoted into high school this year. We've got next year I'll have a kid entering high school and a child graduating from high school. So it's just kind of like transition of life. And then our youngest will probably be starting some level of kindergarten or pre-K level work. So it's just kind of like, I don't know if I'm ready for all of these transitions at once, but we're just gonna wing it like Batman. Bro, it's been such a bonding experience through podcasting.
Yes.
Yeah, it's been super cool. But yes, I am very excited just in general, like the progression of life in this season as we go towards summer. Things are on fire. We're kind of experiencing all these transitions of life. Sometimes they feel good. Sometimes they feel great. Sometimes it's not. But either way it goes, right? Either way it goes. So right. I'm just really excited for whatever those next steps are for anyone out there in listening range. We hope that this season is a season of growth and going, whatever that is for you. I am super excited for this episode. I keep saying it, but I really am. It's because the theme is feisty, and we've got some real feist going on up in this episode today because of our guest, which I'm happy to introduce. Our special guest today is Tiffani Martin. Tiffani Martin is a seasoned executive strategist, board member, author, and accessibility specialist with a rich history of leveraging artificial intelligence, otherwise known as AI, and assistive technologies to metamorphose businesses' strategies across a spectrum of industries, including nonprofit, entertainment, retail, education, publishing, and technology. Woo! She is the founder and CEO of Jancynco and VisioTech, digital strategy and tech solutions companies aimed at bridging accessibility gaps in product development. With over 15 years of expertise in omni-channel strategy and a keen focus on leveraging artificial intelligence and assertive technologies, Tiffani has transformed business landscapes across various industries. As a woman-owned, minority-owned, and disability-owned entrepreneur, she's a staunch advocate for diversity, equity, inclusion, and accessibility in technology and the workspace. Tiffani's technical skills, coupled with her certifications as a certified Scrum Master and certified product owner and manager, along with her training in web and digital accessibility from the Blind Institute of Technology, positions her as a trailblazer in driving agile project management strategies and fostering inclusive design practices. Despite facing personal challenges like diabetic retinopathy, she remains resolute in her mission to champion accessibility and diversity in technology. welcome, Tiffani. Oh my gosh. I get chills just reading that. I'm like, wow.
That is
That was a good
nothing
read.
but
Yes.
all to say, I just give opinions.
Hey, feisty.
That's
Feisty.
it.
That is a whole dictionary of feisty right there. You hear me? Like, wow.
So you did your good SAT reading on that. I am proud of you. And I was like, who is that? That's okay. So yeah.
That's the voice right there.
Oh my, where, I mean, there's so many ways that we can unpack this. I feel like your personal story, your career story, they all kind of mix and mold together. But really, I'm really inquiring more so about this definition of feisty and how it kind of applies to you as a person. So how do you define or describe feisty?
Oof. To me, feisty, I think I embody feisty, but I think it comes with the territory. So if I just had to kind of put it in a phrase, it would probably be no regard for ignorance or unbelief. Like the spaces that I have to enter with my layered identity, it requires to be a little feisty. And the no regard is not the lack of respect. It is, you can be where you are, but then also I can be where I am. And we can just, there be mutual respect or get out my way pretty much. So that's where the fight comes in. So
yes, spoken like a woman in tech. Yes, y'all, get your veteran badges right here. Oh my goodness. I love this. Being okay with who you are, but also being okay with saying next. I love this because I feel like this is where a lot of women in the tech, especially in the early stages of their tech career, they feel like they are a movable piece, right? They're just a pawn in some areas, if you will. They're going up the ranks, they're learning new things, they're building on new skill assets or things along those lines, but still they feel like they don't have a firm foundation or a firm footing in a lot of areas. I love your personal story, and I want to talk more about this specifically. Like, when we talk about creating something, and I'm going to focus a little bit more on VisioTech because I think that's really where I want to kind of hone in on that. When you were building this initially, what was your thought process? And then how is that sustaining you now, that same thought process?
To give the story behind it, because there's a lot of history to the point. It was in 2019. I was just recently married in January. And then in March, experienced a kidney rejection after we had thought we were pregnant, my husband and I. And I was in the hospital for a very long time. My stints in the hospital were like months on end. And in this particular sense, I realized that the key to the information that was needed, especially for people within marginalized communities, that key, that bridge, if you will, was access and technology. So in one of these hospital stints, I'm in the ICU. They finally moved me out, and I had a friend come up by the name of Taylor Shedd, and she is another Black technologist, incredible, woman, and all the stuff that she's doing in ed tech, but came up, just, friend coming up to visit, told her to bring up her computer, had an idea, and right there in the middle of the hospital, I formulated VisioTech, just built it. And I knew that I wanted to work in accessible technologies. And so, I'm literally sharing my idea. She's writing it out. We're going back and forth. And this process happened for like days. And I literally had my first client right before I went into a surgery. They shifted me over into the seat that they have next to the bed, the hospital bed. And we positioned it to where it looked like where I was staying, the hospital I was at was downtown Dallas. And my background was a skyscraper. So I made it seem like I was in a high-rise office and literally held my first meeting, first consultation in accessible technologies. And it went from there.
Wow. I mean, go girl. I don't even know. There's like no other words I can think of, but yes, here you are about to enter surgery, about to already enduring surgeries, and you have this idea, and you like, can we just clap for the friend who just for real was like, I'm receiving this and I'm gonna make sure I document it. Like, those type of people are rare. And it's also really cool that you were in a position where if it was you, right, if the roles were reversed and your friend was the one, I don't know, would have been the same way? Would have been like,
oh yeah, I'm that. I tell everybody, be careful if you want me as a friend. Whatever you want to do, I'm down. If you want to create a business, call me. If we robbing a bank, call me. I mean, I can't drive nowhere, but I'm down for the cause. But no, absolutely.
oh, I love that. That is such camaraderie. We need more allyship in this way. We need the
Right.
friendships like that, especially in these areas, being a creative or being a techie. Like, we need those spaces and places so that we feel safe enough to unleash ideas, to unleash thoughts that maybe are, wishes upon a star, but for somebody that's a reality. For somebody that could be an actual job or a legit app or a service, clearly, that you are doing right now, which is amazing. I love the story just because that could come from anybody, right? We hear those stories about influencers or creatives creating their big tech companies by writing their thoughts on napkins, and it came to us in a dream, or or they were literally in the bathroom in the shower, and all of a sudden, bam, right? Priscilla can probably attest to some of those moments
all the time. Yes, that's the best time. That's where I should have an office. If I ever have an office, it'll just be a bathroom.
I mean, I get it.
Acoustics are great in here too.
It's therapeutic.
It is. Hey, so I wanted to know. Usually, we ask people describe a time when you had to grow up and out of something. But since we're feisty is our thing, I wanted to know. Could you describe a time when you had to be feisty?
Ooh.
I mean, I know you just told us a story about you being feisty, but I mean, outside of a hospital.
Outside of a hospital being
Yeah.
feisty. There was a time my business partner, Jancynco, another Black male in tech. As you can see, there's a theme of color.
Yes.
When I would initially have, consultations with people, they were all, word of mouth, or so it would be phone calls. And once we got past the phone call and did the video conferencing or whatnot, I realized there was a drop off. So I just wanted to, run a test to see. So I would initiate the calls, and then I would switch in my business partner, Jason, on the second video conferencing, and we would get the deal. And so I, one day, after doing this several times over, told the team, and this is also leading into a lot of the changes that we recently did, but I told the team, if I, who owns this business and have put everything I could into it, it is a reflection of my identity. It's not me per se, but it's everything that represents me. To do that and to be slapped in the face, to have to hide behind, and no shame to him, but a sighted man. And I am all, I love our men, I love our Black men and everything, but I will not dim that, and I made it mandatory that would never happen again. And it was very much a part of the restructuring. I was sensing a shift in the industry, And this was kind of like an additional gasoline to that feisty fire moving forward, as what I wanted the team to know. We will not go to places, we will not serve in places where our full selves are not welcome. And since then, I've stayed by that, and I've plastered my face and disability everywhere. So they know if I'm on LinkedIn, you see it in my any acronyms that I have. But yeah.
Oh my goodness, I love this. We will not go into spaces where we cannot be our true selves. Is that not like the Bible in some areas? Like, I just feel like that is scripture. That is absolutely beautiful. And I'm like I am personally challenged by this because I'm personally going through this a little bit in other areas of my business life. And so I always go back to the center, exactly what you're saying. If I can't be my true self, if we can't pull in the things that we need to pull in just by innately being ourselves, we can't service other people if we can't be our truest selves walking into these spaces. And I just felt that is so point on. I needed to hear that today. I know someone in listening range of this podcast right now needed to hear that. Thank you. Thank you so much, Tiffani, because I needed to hear that.
No problem. Priscilla hit me with a curveball, man. I was like, ooh.
Sorry, I told you, flash questionnaire. That's me.
I'm here for it. We get into the nitty gritty, so I'm here for it.
This is great. Okay, so as you talk about your journey, and specifically as we talk about, I want to talk about the vision accessibility specifically. We talk about VisioTech and all those type of structures that you've created is based upon a need, right?
Right.
And so how has your disability shaped your career path overall?
Well, I wasn't always in tech. I was in marketing. That was I went to school actually for entrepreneurship. So I can say I'm one of the few that their degree actually came in and it worked. But I went right into marketing at like 19 at an internship, and I was brought in to help with accounting, but digital engagement was kind of booming, and I knew about it. So that's kind of what I went into. But while I'm doing that, I'm also working on sites. Communicating with our outsourced vendors. I'm, what I know now to be, a product owner in a sense, or, just in some aspects a Scrum Master. Didn't know it then, but that's essentially what I was doing. And so later on, after some major health challenges and 3 transplants, I woke up from the surgery table, and I was like, marketing might not be my thing anymore. And I had to really kind of like digest that, like, what is it that I can do that I feel would be a tool that somebody can use way before, once I'm dead and gone, they could still, use these tools. It'll help them in whatever education, employment, healthcare, whatever it is, they can utilize this tool. And so I felt that my skill set, what I had to offer rather, was better suited into tech. And so I literally made a hard pivot, went and got the certifications, went to the Blind Institute of Technology to, learn about accessibility, started, the MBA in cybersecurity program at Baylor University last year. And I was very serious about it. Because and not that you asked this, but I feel that when I do enter spaces, I have the tendency to try to overcompensate to make people feel comfortable with my disability. And that's something that, even though I've been preaching it on and on and on, the higher I go in the rooms that marginalized, professionals were not historically welcome to, we got to do twice as much to get half as what. And it's one of those things that are embedded into our psyches that I just, up and realize that, I'm actually just living this out unknowingly, unconsciously, and So I've always kind of kept that credibility of how I viewed it in education, along with, the advocacy and the passion behind it. But I keep them equal to whatever. There is no excuse for why I should not get respect. So
Right. Oh my goodness, this gives me chills. I'm so excited right now. Like, I so appreciate the value of these words because there are so many of us that feel like we have to do twice as much. We have to be twice as good. We have to be twice as smart as our male predecessors over there because we have to find some way of standing out. And the reality is that we already are in a lot of areas. We already do that naturally just by being ourselves, just by taking space, just by breathing in the room. We are already doing that. We are already overcoming some of those areas. And so I totally relate to these feelings of, oh, I have to be more. Oh, I have to be, extra loud. I need to be extra funny. I need to be, extra whimsy so I can feel this void within sometimes ourselves that we feel like we're not enough. And I really appreciate your honesty in sharing that with us today, because I do feel like there's so many of us in these spaces. And what you have done is kind of, again, cleared the room with, oh, no, you don't have to do that. You don't have to do that to yourself. You don't have to say those things to yourself. You are already more than that. And that kind of goes right back into our our topic, our theme of our podcast, being more than ... We are more than graphics. We're more than the spaces that society in the world kind of conforms us to take up space in. So yeah, I love this. Thank you so much for saying these words.
No, but and then even going to what you just said, being more, there is so much impregnated into the ellipses of any statement. I am more than every, there's so much that we don't really dive into in our professional careers because there's no space for it. I hope to be a mother one day. You have to find places that welcome that aspect of your life. The kids get sick, you got to take time off. If the husband's doing something, then it's up to you, or go get calls from schools, or within the pandemic and with all of the racial tension going on, being able to walk in a space and feel comfortable, and everybody's not on pins and needles to say hello because they don't know your temperament because of the news. It's just there's more aspects and facets of people that I just wish, and we're doing a good job, mediums just like y'all's podcast, but getting those into corporate spaces where it needs to be prominent in, and having our full selves present and welcomed and appreciated. So
yes,
that's like a really big thing, because I know for me, one of the reasons why I have considered, just because of the stability, do I want to go back into corporate? But I still have, my kids are 11 and 8, and I'm like, I don't want to. That was one of the things for me being working for myself, is I want to have that flexibility and be able to do my own thing without having to, ask permission.
That part.
Ask permission. And I love that, all the vulnerability, that you do share. That is feisty, being feisty, because you have to speak up. Yeah.
I love this. I love it. I can't stop saying I love it, because this is the heart and truth of really what I hope more people of color, more minorities are seeing take up space and take up these conversations. These are the things that some of us don't even talk about until we feel like we're all the way home, or we're on Snapchat where no one can see our faces, or in secluded places where we feel like no one can know our secret identity. But in a lot of ways, we continue to be the superheroes in the spaces. We continue to be the vigilantes, if you will, even in areas. And I do truly believe that it's because of conversations like this that we can continue to build and thrive and strive further than what we were what our predecessors have been able to do. So I had an extra question, but I know Priscilla's going to weave in here. So I'm going to let Priscilla, you can go ahead and throw your name in the ring in there.
Hey guys. Now, well, so out of all of your accomplishments, what is the one that you're most proud of?
I think it's my most recent, which is, well, it's two. One, completing this book that's going through editing, but it's you're gonna laugh. It's called iRobot, but instead of the lowercase I, it's EYE, and it's a play off of the
yes.
It's a play off of the movie with featuring Will Smith, but it's pretty much my attempt at resolving not necessarily a conflict, but an inquiry that my husband had. We were watching anime. He got me into anime, and in one of the, without giving a plot point, it ended up him asking me to, what is AI and how can it help? And so I thought about it in the context of, with him being my caregiver and how I utilized it. So I wrote a book, and it's literally bridging the gap between AI and accessibility. So I give all the foundational, tools. If somebody who had no clue of either one of those areas were to pick it up and lay out what it is, I interweave some of my story into it, but then also give like the laws that are in place for both. And at the end, I give 3 kind of like my attempts at anime stories that they're all, fictional stories, but it's actually based off of real technology for persons with disabilities that, people would never know is out there. So that was just, that had been like years kind of in the making of writing. And like I said, that's going through editing and all of those aspects. And then the second one is I partnered with another Black woman in tech. Her name is Erin Reddick. And she's the founder of Chat Black GPT, which is a culturally sensitive learning model in AI. But we joined forces to launch the International Accessible AI Day. And this is pretty much just a day to acknowledge the importance of having accessibility within the AI space that keeps in mind marginalized communities, people of color, people with disabilities, really encouraging more diversity, not just for those within the data sets, making sure those are more diverse, but those that are behind the technology, those that are making the decisions and building and all of those aspects. So this is dedicated to that. It's July 18th. And that particular, why are we laughing?
Oh, no laughing. I'm saying no way. I'm so excited.
Oh, I thought it was like a birthday or something significant.
Well,
I'm like,
it is my birth month. I'm not gonna lie. Like
oh,
July,
really? Okay.
I'm July 22nd. So
oh, okay. Well, I'm 8/22, so we
yay.
But no, it's 718 is literally the mathematical number for exponential growth.
Yes,
which is used in AI from Leonard Euler, and the number is 2.718. Yeah. So I just took that, and I wanted something to honor, the growth, the potential growth of marginalized communities within the AI space. So that's how we came up with that. So,
oh my goodness,
I'm going crazy over it.
I know, right? I'm just like, okay, so that's on my social media holidays to celebrate. It's in my socials as of today. Today, hey, it's in my socials.
Danielle, this might get me out of the woodwork this way.
So background on Priscilla, she has celebrated over 1,000 consecutive social media holidays. She's like an expert on finding a way to build your brand with social media holidays of some kind. So she is like, so when she hears this social media holiday, she's like, what?
I just like the interesting ones. I don't want the traditional ones. So we're going to talk.
That is so funny. But no, actually, July is Disability Pride Month. So it's all of, awareness. The 26th is just, disability independent, all of those things. And so I wanted something to represent that set. It just fit too perfectly.
Yes.
And we just started working on it. But I was, I'm passionate about the work behind it. So developing a white paper, we have some content already there, and just getting input from both, communities. And so that's something that I'm really looking forward to pushing in our first awareness day. It'll be in July. So
I'm so excited for this. Please keep us posted on this.
Yes.
We definitely want to get
like we're
behind.
BFFs now. Like
I love it. Man, I'm for it. I'm like this. I'm connected.
You know
I'm
what?
super invested.
What is really calling to me during this conversation is, a lot of which I've said this to Danielle a lot of times. Whenever we have health challenges, it challenges us. Like I know, like I can push I've done this. She knows this. I've pushed myself so much in the past that I don't realize it, but it's my body that says, hey, look, you've got to get a fusion on your neck, or hey, look, you can have an appendectomy, and stuff like that. And so I think it's really, interesting that, when we're put into our bodies, we're put into a kind of, it makes us shift. Like how we have to, and I think it's beautiful how you've been able to like adapt and, and be your old feisty self on moving, all the different places. And it's because it is hard, like if we go into one space and, some people, they may not feel they are confident that they have the flexibility to go, well, this is what I've always done. What am I going to do if I can't do this anymore? I know I've had that conversation with Danielle lots of times because I'm a designer and things. I go, what happens if I can't use my hands anymore? Or what happens with my neck, and stuff. And so, we have to think of what are all, other venues for us to go in, but, sharing like your passion about stuff and teaching other people, and, sharing your knowledge and stuff. I think all of this stuff for you is very exciting. And I love how they, hearing the story of how they came to be.
Yeah. And as far as just my introduction to accessible technologies, that was my dad. He was adamant because I lost my sight at 28. And his thing was, you are going to be independent. And that was, even before me completely losing my sight, walking around, the house, learning steps, learning, how to cook, all of these things. And a woman by the name of Antoinette Tuff, if you ever get a chance to look her up, her last name Tuff, she was actually awarded a medal from President Barack Obama because she actually stopped a gunman from a mass shooting at a school. She talked him down. It's a whole entire Lifetime movie on this incredible woman. But just serendipitously, she ran into my dad, and she had a son that was blind, and gave him all the resources, another ally. And that was my introduction to it. And so, it's having those moments, is getting that information, and then having the support system to kind of encourage. But it's access again, like you want more opportunities and options, like our counterparts. My story was not the prettiest, even though, I grew up middle class. So, it's that weird space where you one check from ending up in a line, but you one idea from never having to live paycheck to paycheck. You see, right. you're in the gap. And even when we got, married, and I shared a little bit earlier, my husband had to quit working and be my full-time caregiver. So he completely gave up, his aspirations was 100%, nurse, doctor, transporter, all of the above. But I'm on dialysis, trying to start a company, trying to manage another company. I'm working a 9-to-5 for healthcare insurance, and a 5 to 9 to pay for bills. So these are the ugly truths about entrepreneurship. Also, like to mention, venture capital is hard for darn near every part of my intersectionality. So I bootstrapped everything and still do, so it's all of these challenges and barriers that are admirable to overcome, but should completely be eradicated, I believe, at this point, for women, for Black people, people of color, for people with disabilities, but we're still having the conversation. So,
my goodness, it's like, it's comforting to know that we're not the only ones, but at the same time, it's so isolating knowing that we're still the only ones. Like, is that, I mean, I feel like that's an accurate statement.
Absolutely. It's this paradoxical dichotomy, if you will, that is just, I'm in the middle, or I'm in a place that I know I should be, but I'm unwelcomed. I have the tools, but they're looking elsewhere. It's just, it's always in a weird kind of space. And I just would like to be out of that space and just have the freedom to create and build and innovate. So.
Right. I completely relate to this. And I think this is so, again, a good testimony to minorities over time, over spaces and places. We've somehow found a way. I love how other people have pointed out, like, the things that were trash or scraps or disregarded pieces of history and space and time and stuff. Minorities were the ones picking those pieces up and creating something out of nothing, or creating masterpieces out of thin air. And I think it just, again, kind of gives more testimony to even people with, especially with people with any type of disability, how they're able to, again, be seen, and they have a completely different perspective, obviously, than those who are not with any type of disability whatsoever. And the perspective continues to either divide or unite in a lot of areas, depending on where you are in the world. And I feel like in a lot of areas, when we hear stories like yours, Tiffani, where you're able to literally build from nothing and still be able to wield your disability as a superpower to help form and fuse spaces together, I think that's incredible testimony for others out there who are in similar spaces.
I appreciate that.
Absolutely. Is there like advice that you want to offer listeners who are walking or maybe trying to forge similar paths of leadership through adversity and accessibility?
Oh, I would just, it's easier said than done, but just pursue it. And, for me, I've had a lot of aspirations. And when I lost my sight, I didn't touch a lick of technology. I didn't touch anything for a year. I didn't know how to use it. So, and I was a blogger, before then, like wrote, contributed to different pieces. And so losing the ability to write was detrimental. I felt like, just to everything, emotions, my spirit, everything. And my dad was like, if you can't see, talk. If you can't talk, write. If you can't walk, if you can't write, clap something, but like whatever is in you, you got to figure out how to get it out by one way or another. So sometimes I feel like I'm not in the space to give advice, because I'm like, I don't know, like, it's like with life coaches, I'm like, listen, I understand it, but like, I just want my life coach to have like an AARP card, right. Like, I know you kind of been through some things, and, but I don't feel worthy to give advice. I just try to live and try to live like to my fullest capacity. Just to go back to what we talked about earlier, just to not have that regard for unbelief. And that's even with myself, just if I think I can't do something, I'm just going to try it just to eradicate that, and then possibly show somebody else like, it can be done. Don't listen. So that's kind of where I'm at.
I totally get it. And that I'm taking it personally for myself, this advice, because this girl right here needs to hear it. This lady and this tech girl needs to hear it. And I think that's incredibly inspiring for so many other women out there who are listening to this episode today. So I really, really thank you for just being honest, being truthful, and being true to yourself. That's the best gift that you could possibly give to all of us today. So thank you so much for all of the wisdom that you have continued to share with us on this episode.
Hey,
I
so
appreciate it.
I was going to say, speaking of sharing, Tiffany, what
Uh-oh.
no, I'm just saying, I know, when I build up. No, you're sharing, your wisdoms and stuff, but can you share the wisdom of how your self-care, how you take care of yourself? What does it look like to you?
I am not the best at it. I'm trying to be intentional about it, but
It's hard.
it's so hard, right? Like when school started, oh gosh, I was dead to the bed. Like that was my phrase. Like
I'm going to make that into a t-shirt.
Right.
One of my friends, her name is Dr. Tiffani Houston. She has this saying, we just talked about this before the call. She was like, in life, be horizontal. That's like her mantra for sleep and rest. I was like, yeah, I like it. I dig it. But
Awesome.
I do a terrible job at it. But when I do get my breaks in between semesters, I'm grabbing my husband to like go travel somewhere. So last break, we went to Denver. He had never been. And we just did everything we could. We made fresh pasta. We, went consignment shopping and thrifting. And I mean, just wherever. We were just walking everywhere, enjoying everything. So that is something that we do. We travel, and I try to do something that I've never done before. I know most people think self-care is like resting. My self-care is exploring and engaging into different cultures and experiences. And I'm trying to think. We went skiing with some friends, and I was like, I'm going snowboarding. Everybody was like, how does that work? I was like, I don't know. And so we ended up going. I've like filmed it and everything, but I'm literally going snowboarding and challenging my husband, and that's what we do. So that's my self-care, is seeing him happy and enjoying himself at different trips that we take. And that would be my self-care. I said all of that to say, yes, I'm an adrenaline junkie. That's my self-care. But if anything, it's the joy that my husband gets enjoying himself with me. So
your self-care is you being selfless.
There you go.
Yeah.
Snap. Okay, go ahead.
I said all of that, and she just came in just.
I told you, hey, what are you guys doing? Hey, let me go. So what did you want to be when you were growing up?
Ironically, a CEO.
Hey, done. Crack it off.
Didn't know what, but I remember at my grandmother's house. Y'all remember Lazy Boys, right? Like the old school joint.
Yes.
I remember sitting there in my big chair, and I would get all of the TV trays, and I would make a U-shape TV tray, and my crayons were
awesome.
And checking off. I worked on my signature when I was a kid. I mean, I had a beautiful penmanship, but I didn't know what I was going to be a CEO of, but I knew I wanted to run something. And I remember sitting there watching Price is Right and Young and the Restless with her and signing documents. I didn't know what business transactions.
Manifesting. You were
manifesting.
There it is. So
you sure did. You manifest that straight. Oh my goodness.
Price is Right. Yep.
Y'all remember what's that show? Big Money, No Whammies. What's that?
Yeah. Was it Jancynco?
Yeah. That.
Hey, I watch the Buzzer every night. We watch there's this Buzzer channel, and I'm on that classic concentration. I am good. It helps me stay tip top in my game.
Yeah, that was my childhood. So
That is awesome. Okay, so like, I guess what we can do now, because I really kind of want to give you some space if you wanted to share anything else additional in and around projects. You mentioned a book, things along those lines. Is there anything else you would like our listeners to know and know more about you or know more about the things that you are building?
No, we just had our site relaunch with VisioTech, so visiotech.co, and back in for March History Month, we had our site and brand relaunch for Jancynco.com. And so I've been busy on those. I've been busy, just researching and writing, trying to currently develop a learning management system for blind and visually impaired students. And I'm passionate about getting, these groups within AI and equipping them. So it's getting these products launched, but we're doing the research behind them, and that's where I'm at right now. Like I bet on myself and literally changed up the model. We were working with clients, and I just said, hey, I want to pivot because I want to be fully present in wherever I go, whatever I do. And I said, with that being said, we're going to change the entire restructure of both companies, but I want to be research-based. I want to be evidence-based. And so I just put all my money, bootstrap, put it all into that. So we're in full R&D for VisioTech. So
I love it. Okay, so we're going to be sharing all these links in our podcast show notes, all the things. So we want people to be able to follow you, support you, just adore, bask in all the things that you do. Because I'm a fan. Like, I don't know about y'all, but when I hang up this conversation, I'm about to go follow her for real. Scope creep. Like, I'm about to like creep for real.
Well, we're going to be talking, she and I will be talking after we get off this for about 20 minutes talking about she's so awesome.
It's so refreshing. It's so cool to see. Like, it really does inspire me and puts me on fire to keep striving in these areas of putting tech and marketing and AI in these same conversations. So from a prompt engineer to all things that you do, Tiffani, like, I am personally just invested. Invested on fire, but personally invested in admiring for real. Like, I am fangirling right now. I'm like, this is the coolest person I probably have on my podcast right now, because it's so cool to have someone in relatable fields doing and striving without consequence. And I think that is what is like the most on-firing part about this conversation today. So thank you so much. Like, without
I appreciate that.
Yeah, I've got so many Team Tiffani teas that I'm coming up in my brain.
Yes.
I need to get real on it, but don't. Listen, I like being personable and relatable. If every podcast was like this, it'd be in such a better space. Like I do, like, corporate podcasts all the time, and you gotta kind of tighten it up a bit, but like just being relaxed and I could do this like all day. So, and y'all really do have like a great platform here, and I love the fact that like it's empowering, but it's personal. It brings everybody kind of close together. Like, I appreciate the dialogue. I have people kind of like walk up sometimes, and I'm like, yeah, I am nobody. We can go like, talk about stuff like what you want to grab like a bite. Like, I'm really one of those that like I'm a hugger, and people, some people like, I want to touch you. I'm like, why? Like, just let's just talk and hug. Like, I'm approachable. So, but no, I appreciate it. But I always like I try to make everybody my friend. So I'm
besties. We're gonna be pen pals now. I'm trying to bring back the pen pals.
I'm for it.
If they figure, there are some tools out there, but like I just want to write stuff again. And OneNote on 365 has a feature where you can do like handwriting tools on there.
Mhm.
I love reading. So even with my school books, I have like everything digitized, but I have to do the swiping motion. So I'm a purist with a little bit of an edge. So I get the writing and everything. So.
I love it. Okay, so this kind of goes right into our AI generated questions in regards to our flash questionnaire. So if you're ready for it, we are happy to wrap up the episode with this flash questionnaire. Priscilla, are you ready?
Are you ready, Tiffani?
Sure, let's go.
Okay, let's go. So if you were a superhero, what would your superpower be, and what would your superhero name be? But I think you already are a superhero, so we can skip on to the next one if you want to.
No, I want to do the superhero one.
Yes. Okay. Tell me.
Okay. So I would be Storm, because one of the old school comics, she has locks and they're like platinum. And I just think she like, the cat suit. I remember what she looked like.
Yes.
And I was like, yes, everybody, like, I'm here for it. So if I can have the costume, I already got the eyes. I don't need that. Platinum hair. I can be a mega mutant and just control like elements. And my name would be Blind Fury.
Yes.
Would you be related to Nick at all?
Did you?
Nick Fury. Listen, eye patch and blind. I think we have.
Yes.
I really think.
But yeah,
do you have a thing for cats?
Yeah, that Storm hair though. That's what I'm working towards. I'm getting some silver hair now. I'm trying to get there.
All of her iterations in the comic books, between like the locks and then the mohawk. I used to have a mohawk back in the day. And yeah, she's it. But controlling the weather,
yeah. I want we call ourselves airbenders, us creative. So like we're
y'all
controlling
watch
the
Airbender,
elements.
like the Airbender.
Yes, religiously.
I'm all caught up, Danielle. Yeah.
It's me. Okay, so it's so funny that you say this, because I'm wearing an X-Men 97 t-shirt right now. So that's the reason why I'm just like, this is why we're friends. This is why we're
Magneto was right.
Yes. So I'm wearing my Aurora right in the front right here.
Yes.
We're classic 97 right now. That show is on fire. If you haven't watched it, I mean, so your adult childhood just came to life and smacked you on the ass, like for real.
Much life. My Facebook cover is Magneto was right. I demanded my husband to give me a shirt. Magneto was right. I'm just like, this. Don't get me started. That could be a whole nother podcast.
Hey, we're taking notes. Let's see. What is our next? We're gonna have some comeback ones.
X-Men 97 is where it's at. I mean, that the whole series is fire.
Yes.
Yes, totally.
So, okay. Next question is: what's your go-to karaoke song? And if you dare, would you give us a quick rendition? If not. Come on, Feisty. Come on, let's do it.
If I was with my sister, it would be Adele, Rolling in the Deep. But
that's a song.
If I'm by myself, I'm always
whisper. Just whisper. We won't tell anybody.
Sir Mix-a-Lot. I like
every time I hear that now, I'm gonna text you guys.
The best part is baby got that. Right. Yes.
Yeah, I like
big
words that I cannot lie.
I love that.
You other brother can't deny.
Right.
When a girl walks in with an itty bitty waist and around thing in your waist, you get sprung. Pull out the tug because you know this. Listen, I can do the whole thing. Don't get me started.
We got time.
I love it.
If you had to survive a zombie apocalypse, what three items would you grab from your home before you make a run for it?
Okay, I have prepared for this. So
good. I love it.
I have it. Don't ask why I have it. We're not even going to go there. I have like a Chuck Norris knife.
Oh God.
No.
It's huge. So I have my Chuck Norris knife. I would probably take some matches because I can do a lot with some matches. I can burn like a wound back together. I watch a lot of Naked and Afraid and a lot of Bear Grylls, so I'm completely prepared for this. And then I'm packing Twinkies because them things last forever. So
Right.
there you go.
Oh, so
Knife,
smart.
fire, Twinkies.
I'm hanging out with you.
Right. Can I ride in the back seat? Right.
So what about, hey, can you share an embarrassing moment from the past that you can laugh about now?
Oh, I have them so many times. Oh, I'll try to think of a really good one. So my husband does this trick that I cannot stand, but it's like mad hilarious. And so we're walking in the mall and shopping or whatnot. And I don't know what we got into like a silly argument about something. Like it might have been like a character or something, like one of those just, going back and forth. And I'm just like, you don't know what you're talking about. And it had to be like something about anime. Da, 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 da. He always slips behind me. So it just looks like I'm talking to nobody and he does it all the time. Like, and to the point where like, I'm just going and I'm like, he's not in front of me, is he? Everybody's like, no. And I'm just like, he chuckles. He's a big 6'4" child. Like it's
Wow.
the most hilarious thing, but no, those are like my most embarrassing moments where I just gotta like laugh. So
that's a good one.
That's so awesome.
Yeah.
If you could have dinner with any historical figure, dead or alive, who would it be? And what's the one burning question you would ask them?
Ooh. Alive, Malcolm Gladwell. He wrote Blinkist. He wrote Outliers.
Outliers.
I've like read all of them. He's a Canadian Jamaican writer, and I just think his insight is incredible. So I would want to have a sit down, a dinner with him, and ask, just go more in depth. He talks about it a little bit, but how his ethnicity either just drove him to his genius, how it molded it, and he talks, about the experiences in some cases, but his narrative of his ideas and how it's always centered in either people of color or women. It's those groups that don't have a voice that he brings context in some of his writing. And I would just love to know kind of the thought behind his genius. I think everybody has a genius, and so I'm always curious to know, like, what is it that just tipped you over and got you to that point. So that would be who I would want to have dinner with.
That'd be a great dinner. That'd be one of those dinners that like last hours, right?
Right. And I'm recording it, doing every, I'm sure he probably wouldn't want it. I wouldn't necessarily want to take away from the conversation with a recording of it. I think it's one of those where you just walk away with the experience.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, one of his, in a conversation or recorded interview of one of his, he talked about his influence by Octavia Spencer. And I was absolutely blown by that because it makes perfect sense the way that Octavia was specifically going about picturing Black people in sci-fi culture, and the way that he intentionally uses it as a superpower, if you will, I think that was incredibly like insightful. It was such an aha moment for me. And that's really the first time that I got to dive into this particular author. So I'm so glad you said the name. I was like, no way. Like, I listened to this interview several years ago. And that was my first time really getting to know this particular man. So yeah, that's super cool.
He talking with strangers really challenged me. I've read all of them with the exception of one, but but you mentioned something that I think, well, we've touched on it, but that again, a whole nother podcast, especially with us in our field, is Afrofuturism.
Yes.
Like, it is not discussed enough.
Nowhere near enough. I want
it to be so bad. But yeah, like I said, that's a whole different conversation.
We can go eons on that one for sure.
Well, I'm sorry to say I have one more question for you. Don't cry. I can always come up with more, but I'll send them later. What's the weirdest and the most unexpected item that's on your bucket list? And why is it? What's it doing there?
Okay. I want to play with a lion cub, specifically in Johannesburg, South Africa. Ooh. And when I was young, my dad did a lot of traveling with the organization he was with, and he came back with this photo. He gave me this beautiful like black ivory necklace and this photo of him playing with this baby lion cub. And so when I actually went to college, I got my passport because my first business deal that I ever had us overseas. And once I saw all of the places that he went, my life, before I got sick, was pretty much trying to copy all of his stamps and locations. But that was one that's been on my bucket list that I'm adamant about doing. So,
I know you'll do it. Yes. I know you will do it. And I want pictures. Or if you could go live, that'd be awesome.
Oh no, I'm doing all of the above. It's gonna be my profile pic. It's going on everything. So
with your storm outfit on.
Yes. Storm outfit, Aurora. Yes, baby lion cubs, Simba, all of the above.
Holding your Chuck Norris knife.
Yes.
We're just gonna AI generate this.
Yes. I'm here.
Oh my god, I love every minute of this. Like, this has been such a warm hug, like seriously, through the virtualness of this conversation. I just really appreciate this.
I feel like y'all have exposed my nerd, and I've never done that on a podcast.
Yes, just scratching the surface.
Right, let's go.
Like, right? Wait till you come back.
Never done that, so I'm just like, I know my husband's gonna come back and be like, "Really?" I'm like, "I know." So.
I love it. We can internet anytime you want. Yeah. Anytime. We're one click away.
This your tribe. Found your tribe.
Yes, you found your tribe. Right on, Priscilla. Nailed it on the head. This is your tribe. This is your tribe. We welcome you. We receive you.
I am home.
Yes. Oh my, yes, that is exactly it. Oh my goodness. Okay, Tiffany, this has been for real. Like, I'm so geeked out, excited, happy to the heavens right now. I'm just totally filled up, pumped up, energized, on fire for all the things that are happening in these spaces and places around tech and minorities and women of color, brown women, Black women, all of us who are just creating and amplifying the space further and further. Thank you for being a torchbearer for so many and continuing to forge your own path as you continue to go up and out, whatever that leads you through, especially in the areas of AI and tech. So thank you so much for being a guest. All right. Well, thanks for tuning in to the More Than Graphics podcast, everybody. For exclusive emails and comprehensive episode details, visit us at mtgthepodcast.com. Don't forget to connect with us on Instagram, LinkedIn, or Facebook by following MTG the podcast. So until we meet again, We're reminding you that you are more than the work you produce. You are more than your name badge, and you are more than graphics. And we'll catch you next time.
And just like that, the episode ends, but the convo has just begun.
Thanks for listening to the MTG podcast.
We want to hear from you. If you enjoyed our podcast, give it a review on your listening app of choice.
Continue to follow us across MTG socials.
And look out for bonus content releases throughout the year. This podcast is produced by Octane Design Studios.
Until next time, friend.